We are going to make this boho pocket belt out of a pair of jeans, no sewing machine required. I'm going to show you how. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Tracy, if you haven't been here before, and this is a DIY upcycling channel. And today we are going to make this wonderful boho pocket belt with all upcycled materials, and it started with a pair of thrifted jeans. Let's get going. I'm going to use these thrifted medium wash American Eagle jeans. I'm making mine to fit my mannequin, but if I was making it for myself, I'd go 2 to 3 inches bigger in the waist because I can add little buttons to make it smaller if I need to. I'm using men's jeans. The pockets are usually deeper in the front and a little bit deeper in the back. Now I'm feeling through the jeans and my pocket ends about here. So I want to draw my first line and I want to make sure it's below the actual inside pocket here, which is there. So I'm going to the waistband seam. And I'm going to the zipper, and right there in the corner where it meets, close to where it meets, I'm going to start my line. And then I'm using a piece of tailor's chalk. Chalk works well, or whatever you have for a sewing utensil. Now I'm bringing it down, 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 and I'm going to start to curve this underneath that pocket. And then I want to continue it a little bit. Let me make it curvier. Yeah, more like there. I'm going to continue it on the back side, but first I need to cut this pocket off. Now I'm going to continue my line. This is where I sort of ended off. Turn my pants looking at the side seam. Bring it around. I'm curving it a little bit right here over that seam. And bringing that up. Well, maybe I didn't need to cut the pocket off. I was thinking it would come bigger here, but I don't think I want it to. Now, these jeans have what is called a yoke right here. I'm saving that. So I'm only going to draw my line to that yoke right there. Now, on the back side, I'm going to trace around this pocket. Here's the yoke. I'm going to trace around this about 3/4 of an inch, starting up at the yoke. Now I'm going to do a little creative cutting. So I'm going to start here at the waistband. Here's the zipper. I'm going to cut straight across to this line that I drew. Now I'm going to pull my pocket out so that I don't accidentally cut that, because that will be our pocket. Now I'm going to follow along my white chalk line. And I'm going to stop at that yoke. I'm going to cut so that's where I stopped. I'm going to cut just below that seam till I get to this other white chalk mark that I drew around that pocket. I think I'll go 1/2 inch below that in case I want to put some decoration there. I can always cut that off if I want to. Now I'm going to cut along this white line. Okay, here's where that pocket was. Now I'm coming around towards the front, and I think what I'm going to do is finish cutting along that yoke and just sort of angle this to that waistband. I think I'll make that belt loop go bye-bye. Okay, this is what we have. Okay, I'm just designing things as I go. Have fun with it because this is playtime. I took a pocket from another pair of jeans and I cut, at least about half an inch around the pocket, and I left a larger piece at the top, about 1 inch. And then on the back, I made 2 little dots here with a marker, 2 there, 2 there. And I'm going to take my hole punch. What I want to do is add it here, hole punch these, and stick a tie in there and tie it on. But I'll show you what I do. So I'm going to take a hole punch. If you don't have a hole punch, you can try to do this with a little scissors, maybe some sort of pick type thing. I'm going to lay this down on the waistband where I think I'll want it. And I think maybe about right there. And where I punch those holes, I'm going to take a fine marker and I'm going to mark on these jeans where those holes are. I'm going to hole punch those. Now what I'm doing is tying this on with string, and I'll show you how. Let me show you in case you're wondering. I'm using about the third to smallest hole. I could even have gone a little bit bigger. The holes that I punched in the waistband, I'm just taking just a little scissors and just kind of working that to make it easier for me to run a string through. I have this belt and I bought it for the beads and the parts and everything, and that's what I'm using for the strings to tie this pocket on. So I'll just cut one off of here. And then I'm going to take a piece of Scotch tape, just a little piece, and wrap it around the end so it makes it a little more pointy and stiff to go through those holes. And then I'll start on the outside of this pocket, run it through a hole, and then the outside hole here. Now that I'm on the back, I'll just cross over and go through this other hole. And bring it back through the pocket. And now I'm going to tie a triple knot so that it's nice and sturdy. Cut my tape off, make a little knot so this doesn't come unraveled. Now what I want to do is swipe a little bleach on these. I think bleach makes them look a little more aged. They add more character and interest. You certainly don't have to do it, but if you do, wear gloves and a mask. Preferably do it outside. I'm doing it inside because it's windy and cold out. I took just some pure bleach, not diluted, from my laundry room and poured it into a bowl. Now, the trick for me is to don't leave it sit on your jeans longer than 10 minutes, or, bleach will deteriorate your fabric and eat through your clothes. But I have found if I don't leave it on there longer than 10 minutes, I haven't had any issues. I'm taking a white rag, getting it pretty saturated, and I'm going to just swipe different areas all over. Now, sometimes jeans will not bleach, and I don't know why. They could be 100% cotton like all the other ones I've done and bleach just fine, and then you'll get a dud that won't do anything. So, just a word of warning. Okay, I'm going to let that sit on there for 10, 11 minutes. I will put it in my washer with some laundry soap, wash it on a normal warm setting that I wash jeans in, and then I'll put this in the dryer. Here's what it looks like out of the dryer. And even if you're not bleaching, I would wash it at this point, because once we get all of our doodads and decorations on there, you can't machine wash it. And machine washing and drying is what makes all those great cut pieces fray. Now I want to add some suede fringe on this side, and I am using a thrifted suede jacket. I cut the arms off, and then I cut 2 pieces from the arms, 17 inches tall, and I was sure to make sure there were no seams in this. Now I want to cut fringe that is approximately 1/4 of an inch wide. I'm going to use my cutting mat, straight edge, and roller cutter, but you can definitely cut these by hand if you don't have a roller cutter. Now I got my hot glue gun warmed up, and I'm going to glue my fringe around this piece here. Just going to start at the top. Down the sides. I don't need to put them as close together, because when it's vertical, they fill in nicely. Down here, I'll have to put them a little closer together. So here, I'll probably just go about 1 inch apart. Now, starting about here, I'll probably go a little less than 1/2 inch apart. Recently got this cool looking tapestry, and it has pretty trim on it. I'm cutting that trim off, and I actually like the tattered back side, and that's what I'm going to use to hide the ends of the fringe and those little glue spots. Now here was the corner. Kind of has a cute shape. I'm going to put that at the bottom. Here I have a piece of ecru colored lace that I cut from a border of a table runner. It's about 3 to 4 inches wide. I'm going to glue that right underneath the pocket. And I'm going to do a little bit of pinch pleating so that it has a little bit of a ruffle and dimension. Here I have an old whimsical brooch. I'm going to pin and hand sew that onto the front of the pocket. You could just pin yours if you want. I will sew this in 4 areas, and I just need to find little gaps that my needle can go through. I always match my thread to the jewelry that I'm sewing, not the background fabric. When I'm done sewing, I'll tie it off in the back by catching a little piece of fabric, holding on to a loop, wrap it around twice, give it a little tug, and do that 2 more times so that it's super secure. Here I have a cool chunky necklace with fun colors. At the end there's a lobster claw clasp. I'm going to slip it through the belt loop and clip it onto itself. Now I'm going to take the other end and slip it through the next belt loop. Now I'm going to open up one of the large rings at the end of the chain, and I have 2 jewelry making pliers. They usually come in a set. I'll link some in my description. Otherwise you can get them at any craft store or even Walmart. Open your rings sideways. Hook it on to another ring. Close it back up. Now I'm cutting various size rectangles from that pretty tapestry, and I'll glue them all along the waistband. Now I have this cool looking earring. I am going to hand sew that right below the waistband. Now I want to trim the other pocket. I will be using a piece of lace cut from the edge of a doily. It's about 1 inch wide. And I'll be gluing it to that 1/2 inch border that I left around the pocket. Okay, I have to explain this a little bit. I want to add another necklace. I originally attached it to the pocket, but the pocket kept pulling forward. So now I've decided to put it on the back side of the belt. So I cut about a 1/2 inch slit. I'll show you the necklace in a second, but I'm taking the end without the clasp and slipping it through that hole. And then I'll pull it through the back. I'm actually going to use 2 necklaces here. So then I take the clasp of the one we just put through the hole, and then I'm taking another necklace and clipping that onto the clasp, and then clipping the end of the necklace that I started with. Now I want to glue 2 pieces of that fringe. These are 13 inches long, off center on the pocket. Now I have this cute thrifted key and tassel charm. I'm going to hand sew it right above that fringe. Now it's time to work on the back. I added another 1 inch border of lace like I did the front squarish pocket. And now I'm taking this scallop doily, cutting about a 1.5 inch border off of that, and I will glue this right underneath of the yoke. Now I'm going to take this pretty necklace, hand sew it in the gap right here. Be careful here not to use pieces that are too heavy. You don't want this to weigh you down. I'm just centering the best I can here. I will put a stitch at one end, leave a little piece of chain hanging on the left and right side, and then I will stitch on both sides of the belt loop. So basically I'm sewing in 4 different areas. Put lots of stitching here. Now I want to decorate the center of the pocket, and I'm torn. I have sort of a small design I could use, or this big one. I'm cutting them both out, and I'm going to try them both. Okay, there's the big one. There's the little one. I think I'm liking the little one best. After I glued this piece on, I just added 2 more pieces of fringe above that little yoke seam right here. And then I just put a little teeny scrap of lace to kind of hide the raw ends there. Here's what it's looking like so far. Now I'm adding beads to the fringe. You'll want to use beads that have large holes, and I find the best resource for large hole beads are necklaces and bracelets from the thrift store. All you do here is take a piece of fringe, snip a little point, slide it through your bead, and I usually have a pin handy in case it doesn't want to go through. I can shove it through, and then I tie a little knot at the bottom so the beads don't fall out, and don't tug too hard here because the fringe will break. I just noticed this end of the chain has a clasp, and it's a perfect opportunity to add another little doodad. Okay, I added another little extra button to make it a little smaller to fit my mannequin. Earlier I had said buy your jeans 2 to 3 inches larger. I'm second guessing myself on that. I'm wondering if 1 to 2 would be better. You just might want to measure where you're going to wear it over the jeans or skirt or whatever you're going to wear it with, and kind of decide what size you want. To clean this, I would spot clean this with a damp rag. And all you sewers out there, you can also sew this. I mean, this could be a sewing project or a no-sew project, whatever you're most comfortable with. And I gotta say, the possibilities are infinite. I wanted to make so many of these. I had pulled out a pair of black jeans. I had to limit myself, and that was so hard. Black jeans with black fringe and some sort of Western colorful designs, beads, things like that. You could do more of a hippie with colorful doilies, maybe sewn here, kind of hanging off the side instead of fringe, maybe with some flower brooches or flowers. Just so fun. Have fun with it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll bring this in closer so you can see more of the details.